I was confronted with the loss of someone in my family close to me, and it was really a shocking experience. I wanted to tell a different story and not talk about death the usual way, I would say, but really deal with death as a physical reality and that can be explained.
David Cage's vision is always one that is innovative and highly challenging. So each time we start out on a project, we see those giant mountains in front of us and think, oh my God, how are we going to do that?
It took about a year to write Beyond. It was really challenging a collaboration because David is really passionate about writing and he always wants to push the envelope.
You know, the concept is huge and there's, incredible action sequences and locations all over the world, but there's also this beautiful drama within it.
One of the challenges of doing this is because the player participates in the scenario, the possibilities of where the story goes is fantastic.
We ended up with 2,000 pages document and we realized we had a very big project in our hands that would be very challenging to produce.
It was a journey, right? Writing Beyond was a journey by itself.
I like being around interesting people that are really innovators and are passionate about what they're doing. And I had that sense in how they approached me and what I saw in the design and how they were talking about how they wanted to shoot.
It was strange because it felt so foreign to me, because it sort of felt like jumping off a cliff a little bit. Maybe that's just what I did. I just sort of jumped, I guess.
It was exciting. It was exciting in the sense that it was unusual for me. Everything was so unusual.
I'm a true gamer. When I got the call and I was gonna meet David, I was beside myself.
When a project is someone's baby and they've put so much time and so much heart into it, you really see it. And this is such a developed story, and this is gonna make you feel and have emotion and go through a journey. So it's something I really want to get into.
I think that's the other thing that's so exciting about this game is this female protagonist. Not a female protagonist who's sorry guys, has big boobs and a tank top, and is running around with a gun. And I feel grateful that I can be involved with playing this female protagonist in this video game.
It was really important amount of pages to shoot. In films, usually they shoot about 2 to 3 minutes a day. We had to shoot above 20 minutes.
It's been shockingly emotional. You just don't stop. You just go and go and go and go. But I've kind of really enjoyed that experience. It's been weirdly kind of freeing.
You walk by the performance capture space, it looks so tiny and so simple. And you look at that and you say, my God, all that stuff happened in that space today. When I say happened, it happened in your imagination and it happened in your intention. But it's a powerful feeling.
It's so amazing that this is what I'm getting to do. I can't sleep at night. I go home and I'm just so excited that I'm coming back tomorrow.
Quantic Dream has always been about creating interactive experiences that have emotion at their core. It's about telling the story of characters and giving the player the possibility through their actions to change the way the story unfolds.
When I write my script, I have an idea of how I want the story to be played.
So we try to render David's idea into a game and see with him if it matches what he had in mind. In case it doesn't, we go back to the writing stage and keep working until the result perfectly matches David's vision.
What we try to do in Beyond is really an intuitive and immersive experience. So we created a very discreet user interface with only white dots on screen and very simple controls.
We wanted to revisit the action system and go for something that would be more invisible and more intuitive to the player. We didn't want the interface to be a barrier. We wanted the player to focus on what he's doing on screen and not on how to do it.
Ideally, the player will forget that he has a controller in his hand and will just jump into the screen.
One of the major revolutions in Beyond is the way Jodie Holmes moves.
Depending on the context, depending on your emotional state, you see the character of Jodie moving differently, walking differently, looking around differently.
And most importantly, to give the player the feeling he's really in control of the character, he can do almost anything he wants to do.
She can talk to other people, interact with objects, and also run, jump, shoot, drive a motorcycle, or even ride a horse.
What was really challenging also is that the story goes on for 15 years of Jodie's life. When Jodie is a kid, for instance, you can do different things than when she is a teenager or an adult.
Giving this much animation to a character, it's really new. It has never been done to that extent, and it really makes the character come alive like never before.
We wanted to have this new mechanics with Aiden. I wanted to give this feeling of flying around and going through matter and through walls.
So we started making some research on how ghosts would move or even a fish would swim underwater.
We thought that using orbs is an interesting approach. It would give us this physicality that we need to interact with matter.
It became really something natural to assign them to the two analog sticks and have to play with them, to focus them, or on the opposite, to split them apart.
During the process of this production, we made what we call user tests.
You just watch people playing and you see where they succeed, where they fail.
If a player don't get it right, it's only our fault. So we work very hard to be able to correct it and give the best experience possible.
After each user test, it's meeting after meeting just to find the good solution to every single issue the player may have had.
I guess what we're looking for with the gameplay is really to find an interface that will allow you to play live. And we try to get closer and closer of the ideal interface where you don't think anymore, you just do it.